How personal and collective karma shape our lives. Welcome back to Blessings Every Day. Today, we'll explore the profound concepts of personal karma and collective karma and how they shape our lives. Let's dive into how our actions, both individual and shared, influence the world around us. Dear community, if you encounter someone practicing the path who is not easy to get along with, do not be disappointed. Remember this saying, people may falter, but the Dharma does not. The Dharma remains pure. It is only people who stray. Understanding, people may falter, but the Dharma does not, will help you quickly halt any negative karma from arising within you, so you do not regress on your path. The phrase non-retreating bodhisattvas as companions that you often chant means what? Non-retreating means not falling back. Non-retreating bodhisattvas as companions refers to those bodhisattvas who do not retreat from their path and are your companions. When you associate with such companions, you too will not retreat. But if you observe practitioners who regress, who fall further with each passing day, their karma will affect you as well. Each person has their own personal karma and shares collective karma. For example, in Vietnam, we used to live in poverty, so we hoarded everything. Even after moving to a place of abundance, where there is no shortage of bottles or jars, we still fill our homes with them. Do you know why? Because we're used to it. It's the hoarding karma. We store things even if we don't use them because it feels wasteful to throw them away. Sometimes the children clean up and throw out all the old bottles, but we secretly bring them back in. Days later, they wonder, why are these back here? Hoarding is a form of karma. Although it's not a sin, it reveals who we are. We recognize it so that when the time comes to sever that karma, we can do so. Dear community, even if we have the habit of hoarding, we must nurture within our hearts the understanding that these things are impermanent. We save for later use, but when it's time to leave this world, we must let go. Remembering this helps us avoid attachment at the time of death. Otherwise, we die clinging to our jars of fermented tofu, and that attachment weighs us down. Why do people practice letting go? Because they fear that the karma of attachment will impact their consciousness. Therefore, we use what we need, but we keep in mind that material things are impermanent. If we are not even real, how can material wealth be? When we first arrived here, we had nothing, and when we leave, we will take nothing with us. We must cultivate this mindset so that it becomes wholesome karma, ensuring we do not return to this world just to guard our possessions. Bodhisattvas return to this world to save sentient beings. What do we return for? To keep our belongings. To keep them because we love our children and grandchildren. That is karma. Recently, I watched some videos of Vietnamese people shopping at Costco. Their carts, low as they are, were piled high with toilet paper like mountains. A devotee sent me these images and said, "Master, look at how they're buying toilet paper. I hope when COVID is over, they don't return all this to Costco." Nowadays, at Costco, there's a big sign in the usual rice, toilet paper, and wet wipes section. The sign says, "Sorry, we are out of rice, water, and wet wipes." There are even pictures of Costco employees holding signs at the door saying, "Out of stock," because Vietnamese customers kept asking, "Where's the toilet paper? Where's the rice?" After being asked so many times, they just held up the sign for convenience. Yet, people still line up out the door. Do you know why? Because we once lived in hardship, and now, at the slightest rumor, we worry. Meanwhile, white Americans remain calm, showing no signs of concern. Although I say this, I also keep some things in stock. That's karma. Despite everything, I always have a mask in my bag, just in case I see everyone else wearing one at the airport. But when no one is wearing one, the American and Vietnamese views on wearing masks are different. Vietnamese people wear masks because they fear getting sick, while Americans wear masks only if they are sick, to avoid spreading illness to others. If you board a plane with a mask, they might ask, "Are you okay?" Seeing these images, we realize this is karma. Because we once knew poverty and always hoarded, it became a habit. I guarantee no Vietnamese household lacks 2 or 3 bags of rice, even in peaceful times. When toilet paper is on sale, wherever there are black-haired folks, they limit the number sold. In Costco locations with mostly American customers, such restrictions don't exist. But in Costco's with many Vietnamese shoppers, they do. Yet Costco can't outsmart us. We re-enter the store, buy more, and check out at a different register. Each person is allowed to buy 6, but somehow everyone's cart ends up with more than 20. Oh my goodness, we're clever. We exit and re-enter, or we bring the whole family to split up. You check out there, you check out here. Do you know how I know this? Because I did the same thing. I bought for the temple. We do it, then find a way to justify it. I'm buying for the temple. Wherever we go, we haggle. That's haggling karma. And after we haggle, we justify it. I'm buying for the temple. We introduce ourselves this way to persuade people to give us a discount. Everyone has their own personal karma, called individual karma. But living with others, individual karma blends into collective karma. That's the shared karma of a community, also known as collective karma. For example, we may have 5 children. They are all our children, but each has a different temperament. That temperament is their individual karma, their personal karma, which we cannot change. Even during meals, we can tell which dish is for which child because a mother knows the individual karma of each child. The mother is the master of various kinds of karma. The husband has one kind of karma, and each child has their own karma. As a mother, as a wife, you have to absorb it all. Eventually, you are influenced by it. Some people like spicy food, but living with someone who doesn't, they eventually stop eating spicy food. Otherwise, it becomes too difficult to cook or eat together. Over time, they become accustomed to not eating spicy food. Therefore, we must recognize that everyone has their own individual karma, but we must be careful to discern whether that karma is wholesome or unwholesome. If it is unwholesome karma, that is when the practice of mindfulness becomes effective. What is practice? It is the correction of karma. We should not say, that's just how I am. The purpose of living together is what? Why do we call it sentient beings? What does sentient beings mean? It means living together, but each sentient being has their own individual karma. When we come together, we influence each other's individual karma, forming collective karma. Therefore, when each of us does a wholesome deed, over time, as our numbers grow, we create shared wholesome karma. That is collective karma, and it is wholesome. Right now, the entire world is experiencing collective karma due to the virus. Remember, this is not the first time we have experienced collective karma. There is not a year that goes by without some form of collective karma. For example, New York was attacked by terrorists 19 or 20 years ago, and since then, we have experienced collective karma, an economic downturn that lasted for a long time. Before that terrorist attack, security checks were minimal, but now passengers are thoroughly screened. In the past, we could bring liquids on planes, but now anything over 100 ml is not allowed. Since last November, if you arrive at a US or Canadian airport, you'll see a screen asking, "Have you been to Wuhan?" Now it no longer asks that, but do you know what it asks instead? Have you been to Iraq in the last 14 days? Because Iraq is heavily affected by the pandemic. If I travel to the US and then return to Canada, I will definitely encounter that question again. When the US is affected, other countries are also impacted. That's the ripple effect because when one is affected, others are too. In a family, each member has their own individual karma, and that individual karma will affect the collective karma of the entire family. For example, if you have an angry husband who often yells, every time he gets angry and shouts, the whole family is affected and the children suffer. If we cannot transform the individual karma of our husband, then our children will constantly live in crisis. Therefore, we must practice mindfulness, be aware of our own individual karma. If we notice any unwholesome karma within ourselves, we must find a way to transform it into wholesome karma. For example, when we go outside in the cold, we wear a coat, but if it's still not warm enough, we add another layer. At home, we increase the thermostat for warmth. If it gets too hot, we lower the temperature, and if it's too cold, we raise it again. In life, everything can be adjusted. We are the same. We need to adjust ourselves so that we remain in a balanced state, not abnormal, not mediocre. We must maintain that balanced state. Remember, we all have the power to transform our karma. By being mindful of our actions and thoughts, we can create a positive impact on ourselves and those around us. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights on living a blessed life.